So given the opportunities that you visualize in the Indian market and this whole Make in India slogan, of course you have been making in India for years before the government started to talk about it. What is going to be the effort on more relevant products for the Indian market? What is going to be the effort on further enhancing localization? You're already way ahead in that game. What can we expect now?
So, again, like you said, Make in India for us, it's part and parcel of our DNA. And I think UTC has done this well across the globe. I mean, if you look at us in China, a significant share in the market over there, we've been out there for many years, is the same thing in India. And one thing UTC will always look at doing is making sure that we are timing it right. And we've been in India more than a century. If you start looking at different businesses, you talk about Otis, you talk about Carrier. I think the aerospace businesses have been participating in the market either through Air India and engines, in the 50s, 60s, and Sikorsky helicopters at the same time. So I think we've been part and parcel of that. In terms of manufacturing, we probably started in the last 30, 40 years, manufacturing across the country, and we've continued to invest every year. So when you start talking about it, it's nice to have a big bang number and say, I invested X $1 million in India, but we've invested $1 million every year in terms of increasing our focus and what we do. Now, what's changed in the last 5 to maybe 6 years is earlier we'd be actually localizing our product as is from a number of our global platforms. So if I took a Carrier product, I took an Otis elevator, I take the platform as is from our global lines and actually look at localizing that. And there's merit in that because you keep the quality the same, the standards the same, and we always maintain that. But as we've seen and we've put in more investments in R&D, in research in India, started looking at quality, what's required from a market perspective, we've actually started changing design to be able to deliver what's required in the market on power connection, on power boards that go into an air conditioning unit or go into an elevator system. The power system, the situation in India is not the most robust. And we've seen that we're able to now reduce our failure rates significantly by having the capability to do design and development work here also in India. So I think investment clearly we're going to continue to make. We have been making for many years. The question is now how do you tweak that to be able to make it correct for what the future is going to be in India and balance it out so that you stay ahead of the curve.
You've built the case for not giving me a headline number as far as the investment is concerned, but give me the incremental investments that we're likely to see coming in 2015-16.
So, I can talk about a few things that we've done over the last few years. We've actually, if you talk about it, we've actually set up a new JV on the residential side for Carrier. We have invested nearly 500 crores through that process. In our Bangalore factory for Otis, we've actually for the last few years invested around 100 crores in terms of doubling our capacity. We're now able to ship around 10,000 units from that facility for India market largely. And I think we're going to continue to see those incremental investments coming. We actually invested in an R&D setup in Hyderabad, which is a global R&D center. We started off with maybe 50 people, 4 or 5 years back. Actually 3-4 years back, and today we're nearly 300 people. So putting numbers exactly to that, you know how it is for us, but it's a little tough to kind of put it on the cards. But it is incremental, and it's in millions of dollars in terms of investments that are coming in every year for us into the country.
What more can we also expect in terms of integrating India and your facilities here in India into the UTC global supply chain? Because that is the endeavor and that's the effort, especially as far as the SAARC region is concerned.
Absolutely. So I think from an export perspective, so I guess the good and the bad thing is there's so much demand already in India. At the moment, we're just trying to ramp up to be able to cater to the Indian demand. Right. And that's where all the investments are going in. But having said that, there's a natural fit for us to be able to export from here into SAARC countries. So we're already exporting from here into Sri Lanka now. We started that process. There will be opportunities for us to start looking at Bangladesh, Nepal, which is going to be natural fits from a neighboring perspective. And I think beyond that, as we start looking at some amount of capability building on the technology side, there will be opportunity for us to export a lot of R&D work globally. We're already doing it out of the Hyderabad center, and I think that is going to continue to be expanded over time. Now, where the manufacturing base will be, economics will play itself out. China is going through its own stride at the moment. India at the moment is still looking at, say, more optimistic than, say, China would be right as of today, as we speak.
Why is that? Because of the labor arbitrage? Because China has actually seen labor costs go up quite significantly.
One is the labor arbitrage. Besides that, the economy is slowing down in China. I mean, clearly the government's been taking actions on making sure that they're investing in the right areas. You know, there's a lot of debt in China also in a big way, which is causing that economy to slow down a bit. And as that does, it gives more prominence to us in India from a UTC perspective also. And I think that's something that we need to, as the leaders over here, be able to capitalize on and make sure that we stand out through the process.
Okay, so if it's looking good in India, what are the key challenges that you're facing specifically from a manufacturing point of view?
The basic answer would always be around some amount of policies and decision makings and how fast can we move that from a government perspective. I don't want to spend time on that. I think there are a lot of inherent things that we can do better and we need to invest on. I think talent is clearly an area that we are working on and continue to work on across the country. We have, you know, on the building industrial systems perspective, we have around 5,000 people now across the country. Are you looking at significant expansion in terms of headcount as well? We are. Every year, even this year, we've already added a significant amount of resources in Q1 of this year, and we're going to continue to invest going forward. Like I said, Q1 exiting orders are more than double digit for us, and we've got to continue to feed that as we move forward, and there is opportunity. If you look at some of them from a market space perspective, for Otis, say, India is the second largest market in the world for elevators. So clearly the resources and investments need to go in. If you look at any of our other segments that we play in across carrier, the fire and security segments, penetration rates in the market are below 5% today in India. So there's significant headroom for growth. There's significant headroom. So I think talent clearly is an area we need to work on, continue to develop, have solid programs. I mean, UTC has one of the best programs globally in any industry, where we have a scholarship program for any employee that walks in, and there's no bonding for it. You can go and study and take on additional education, and the company pays for it. And it's up to you whether you want to stay or you don't want to stay. But we spent above $2 billion on that over the last few decades, and it's paid off for us in UTC, and we're going to continue to invest in things like that. But besides that, is really about core talent and developing it in India, which we've got very strong processes now that we have developed already, and we're continuing to invest in going forward. So that's one area. The other is the localization piece and building up R&D and engineering capabilities in the country. So linked to that effort to further localize and not just localize, meaning make in India, but also make for India specifically. Are you looking at acquisitions at this point in time as well? And would inorganic growth be part of the strategy? We are always looking for acquisitions. UTC. Any specific areas that you would be more interested in at this point in time? So clearly across the building space. I mean, the way we've looked at it in the last few years, we have made 2 or 3 acquisitions, which have come on board and kind of rolled up well into the organization right now. We'd be happy to look at a big player, but I think there's not really a significant big player out there today that we'd be able to say will add value. But there are a lot of niche areas that we continue to look at.